Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. Kevin Leese is my guest today. Kevin is a park ranger at Wallace Falls State Park. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Thank you.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. We're going to ask a big question right up front. You ready for this? Just out of the blue, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What's one thing you wish every visitor that visited Wallace Falls State Park knew before they arrived?
Be ready for a wonderful experience. Be prepared for that wow factor. When you get up to the viewpoints, especially in Middle Falls, it's going to be memorable.
All right. That's a great answer, by the way. I like that. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about you. What's your background? How did you end up in the Parks Department?
Yeah. So, it's interesting. I get this question from visitors, and I get people that say to me, come up and, I always wanted to be a ranger. And sometimes I tell a few folks that I never did. Which is interesting. It is a great job. So going back, I grew up here in the county. I went to school in Granite Falls. And in high school, figuring out what I wanted to do, I got involved in, we had a Future Teachers of America club, and was my senior year, the first year we had that. I was the president, and we had, probably half a dozen students. Anyways, I went to Everett Community College, got to Western. I was enrolled in Woodring, the Teachers College of Education. And I had one quarter where I was taking psychology as a supporting major. And the one quarter I had a statistics class that I failed, and I was put on academic probation for a quarter. So I decided, okay, if I have a quarter of classes that I'm just, interest. I took a geology and a geography class, and I enjoyed those so much that I switched my majors to geography. And so I would never recommend that to anyone, because then you have to go back and do all those, your general requirement classes. So I was in school for longer than I intended, but I think it's paid off. So got a degree at Western in, geography, resource management, about 2003. I worked seasonally 3 years for the Forest Service. And then around 2005, I applied for state parks, and a coworker of mine with the Forest Service had mentioned she had, I believe, applied for Deception Pass. And so that intrigued me, looking at the information about the Ranger class for Washington State Parks. And I was hired in 2006. And it's been 19 years plus with the agency. And it's been mostly as a ranger. It's been a really good experience for me. So getting back to that, my goal was to be a teacher, but I guess in some ways I'm a teacher out here in the parks, but
Since this is an audio show, no one's really going to see that I was chuckling, why you were saying that. And I wanted to interrupt you and say, I'm not laughing at you. I genuinely am laughing with you, because what I've gone on record saying many times is I went to Central. Okay. And, I think even the bio on the website says my freshman year was the best 6 years of my life. I get the academic probation. I get hey, I'm just going to take these classes because they sound interesting, versus, I was an accounting major to start with. And, I'm grateful that I didn't go down that path. Very, very grateful. I did not graduate. I ended up getting a job that pulled me away from college. Anyway, yeah, anyway, my path to where I am is long and convoluted. Good for you. You're going to be on 20 years here with the Park Service. That's awesome. That's in today's day and age, talking to somebody who's got more than 2 years somewhere is almost, it seems very impressive to me. All right. Where was your first assignment at, though? You didn't start here at Wallace Falls. Have you moved around?
Yeah, I've moved around quite a bit. The first, I guess, 7-8 years. I started when I went through the interview process, and all the testing and talking to psychologists, because it is a law enforcement position. So the hiring requirements are pretty high. But I was given the offer between Grayland Beach and Yakima Sportsman.
Okay.
And I chose Yakima. It sounded sunnier. Grayland sounds gray and cloudy and rainy.
Right.
But,
okay. Fair.
And then also when I went through the interview process, the manager at the time at Yakima was very friendly, and we spoke, about hiking here in the Northwest. He had lived in Linwood, so which was also interesting starting Yakima, because probably a year earlier I had interviewed for a GIS position through Yakima County, and I remember leaving Yakima thinking, well, I really don't want to live here.
But it's the Palm Springs of Washington, man. Come on.
Yeah. But I worked at that park for about a year and a half, and I grew to really like Yakima. I like the culture. I like the opportunities for outdoor recreation. You're right there, going up to Chinook Pass and all the hikes up there, Highway 12. I think it's a good location. I like the Four Seasons there.
Right. And that's why, we moved to Wenatchee to get away from, well, for me, it was traffic. I just got tired of the commute. I was commuting from Tacoma to Olympia every day, and that's just soul searching, or not soul sucking, not searching it. I lost it. Anyway. How long have you been at Wallace Falls?
Yeah, 11 years. I came here October 1st, 2014. So about a year and a month. But but in between Yakima and here, I moved back over to the west side in 2007. I had a girlfriend at the time in Lake Stevens, and I worked at Windberg, which is now a county park. So I was there, I think, a year and a half. And then at the time, the agency was, as far as getting the funding was getting tight, budgets were getting tight. So the agency, we basically got rid of 3 or 4 parks. Windberg was one of them. Snohomish County Parks stepped up, and we handed the keys over. So at that time, I had to, I was offered a position. I went to Kama Beach and Camano Island.
Okay.
So I was there a couple years. Went to Whidbey Island after that for a couple years, and then 2014, when the position became available at Wallace, I applied and got here and haven't left.
I'd like you to give us a glimpse into your day to day that a park visitor doesn't see. Like when I met you, I was at the park, and you were were you collecting money from the lock boxes, basically? Were you ticketing cars? I mean, you look like a parking lot cop, honestly. I mean, I was kind of chuckling to myself. It's like, okay. And we started talking. So what's a normal day for you at Wallace Falls?
That's really hard to describe. It can vary. For example, this week we had a Washington conservation crew here at the park doing trail work.
Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time working with them. We were up trail right around Lower Falls, repairing a couple posts, taking out, there was a tree that came down from our recent windstorm. But, we have some routines. You can imagine what goes into a park daily routines, including bathrooms, cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
We do have other staff, support staff, but I try to be involved as much as I can. The garbages, recycle, mowing, weed eating, trimming, um, making sure all the vehicles, the equipment is working. We have cabins here, and they're very popular here, especially the weekends and holidays. So they're turning over, so it's kind of all hands on deck, keeping them clean.
So like
So
housekeeping. I mean, you're like
yeah,
a hotel housekeeper for the cabins.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a good revenue source for the agency, and
Yeah.
it's a good experience for
Yeah.
people who come here. And yes, I do some of that, parking lot enforcement,
Well,
checking on Discover passes, uh, we want people to buy into that. That's we are really reliant on our user fees, like camping fees and the Discover Pass.
sure.
Yeah, part of that, but yeah.
Well, what's funny is that I haven't talked to that many rangers per se. Half a dozen of you. So, but I can say all of you that I've talked to kind of have the just want to have like a casual conversation in the parking lot with you, right? I get the feeling that one of the characteristics of a successful Washington State Park Ranger is the ability and willingness to do whatever the job takes, whether you're mucking out a bathroom because you have to, or you're up fixing a trail, or you're interacting with the public who doesn't have a Discover Pass and you're trying to be polite to them and not escalate it, and and your PR for the park and for the department.
Yes.
It seems like it doesn't seem like yes, you have a routine, but I bet every Tuesday is probably not like every other Tuesday. I mean, and when we brief, like, for example, you mentioned, or I was mentioning to you by email, that if we were having tech troubles today, maybe we could try to do it next week in person. And you said, well, I'm in training all week. So you've got training to go to,
Mhm.
things like that. So I'm going to ask you that question. What sort of training are you going to? What do they got you working on for training these days?
Yeah. So for the Ranger class, we have Ranger 1, 2, 3, 4. Our
Okay.
Ranger 2s and 3s are commissioned. So we do have, police powers.
Okay.
So we have to keep up with, all the new policies, procedures.
Okay.
We go to quarterly trainings for firearms and defensive tactics. So we have
Okay.
a really good training team. Um, so we go over scenarios. But so next week I have a supervisor's training.
Okay.
Typically we do an annual in-service. We didn't do that this year, but so yeah, keeping up on those skills
Okay.
for the law enforcement side of the job. Yeah.
So you're a Park Ranger 2. Is Park Ranger 3 an upgrade or a step below you? How's the 1, 2, 3, 4? Is 4 the highest, or is
Yeah.
4 the lowest?
4 is our admin area managers.
Okay.
So they would probably be considered your area supervisor's position.
Okay.
The Ranger 3s are considered our operation managers. So that would be a step above the 2.
Okay.
And then I think of our 2s as kind of the journeyman type ranger.
Yeah.
And then the Ranger 1 class is they can do the Discover Pass enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
They also do a lot of the daily routines, supervising park aids.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those jobs, the task duties kind of overlap a little bit. We're, except for maybe the Ranger 4, they're really involved with meetings with overhead staff, headquarters staff, friends groups, etc. But
Okay.
not to say that we're not involved. I work with volunteer groups
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
All right. Well, it's being an outsider looking in at an organization is interesting to see how. Well, I don't. Okay, this question would have not been something I would have scripted with you. And I don't expect you to know the answer. So if you don't know, it's okay. So I'm letting you off the hook right away.
Yeah.
But how many people do you think work in the state park system at all levels?
Yeah, It's increased over the years, and which I there's a lot that goes on. Including the seasonals, I think it's 600, 700.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
FTEs,
Now,
full time employees.
how about at Wallace Falls? How many employees are working at that only I don't know, only work at Wallace Falls?
Correct. Yeah, there's three of us full time,
Okay.
and so myself, we have a Ranger one here,
Okay.
and then we also have a full time park aide.
Oh,
And we also cover three other parks. We have Big Eddy Scenic River Access, Forks of the Sky, and Mount Pilchuck State Park.
okay.
But we're part of what we call our larger area of parks is the Cascade Foothills Park,
Mm-hmm.
which includes Lake Sammamish State Park, St. Edward, Bridle Trails, Olali, and the parts of the Palouse to Cascade Trails, part of our Cascade Foothills area parks.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about Wallace Falls. Like your park. It's to me it seems pretty large at about 1,300 acres, if I remember reading
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah,
So that's a lot of acreage to have as a park. To me, okay. To me, that seems big. In your opinion, is Wallace Falls a big park? Is it normal size?
yeah. Yeah, compared to other state parks, we have more acreage than most, but we're not as big as say, go out to Moran State Park. There's probably 5,000, 6,000 acres there. Larrabee, Mount Spokane, those are our largest parks. But
Right.
typically, we're probably close. A typical state park, 200 acres or so,
Okay.
but it can vary. Yeah.
So, and then one of the other things that I'm cheating and looking at my screen. I got some notes over here. I'm kind of cheating. What do you know about the history of the park? How it started? What all I know is that basically it was in about 1971, and it was from Weyerhaeuser.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, going back to history of this park, sometime in the late '60s, there was money being allotted for the requirements of the properties, and it started out as purchases, 1971 from Weyerhaeuser, and other parcels were later added in the '70s. Private timber like Weyerhaeuser, probably some DNR properties as well.
Mm-hmm.
The park officially opened in 1977.
Okay.
Leading up to that, probably in '75, '76, there was youth corps. The younger kids were out building the trails. Some of the early structures, for example, up at Lower Falls, there's a picnic shelter there,
Okay.
which is an odd thing to see on trail. But you get up there, and it's probably like a 20 by 12 open covered building with a couple of picnic tables, and it's been there since the park opened. So uh, park opened in '77 officially, and other properties adjacent were added later on. So we now have a trail that goes up to not only the falls, but we have Wallace Lake, J Lake, Shaw Lake. The Greg Ball Trail, which was completed around 2004, connects to Wallace Lake. Uh,
Oh,
we're surrounded by a lot of DNR properties as well. So some people will not only do the hikes up to the falls, but you can go to the lakes, or you can make a large loop hike. But you do leave the park. You do get into the DNR, Department of Natural Resources properties.
right. Okay. So it's interesting that you saying it really didn't open until 75, which is interesting to me as I've paid more attention to the state parks. I know Larrabee was the first park,
Mm-hmm.
and then as I've paid more attention to it, it's interesting to kind of, this was a grant here, or this is in partnership with this agency over here, or it's interesting to me that I think each of the 145 parks probably all have this really each story is a little different. You know what I mean? It's like, so this one had Weyerhaeuser as maybe the key instigator of it, you know, as far as the land, and then DNR land and all of that. And then each park has its own identity. And what I hear from is like, my son is, if you, okay, you've met me. I'm not a small human being. I am small compared to my son. Okay. And, he's hiked that. And my son doesn't go outside. Okay. My kid is in front of a computer screen all day, all night. Okay. Type person. But he and his friends all have gone up to Wallace Falls. I don't know what the motivation was, but the fact that my son has been there is interesting. And then I know other people that say, hey, we're going to go up to Wallace Falls. I mean, I keep hearing Wallace Falls, Wallace Falls, Wallace Falls. I don't hear Squilchuck, which is by me here. I don't hear, I don't ever really hear anybody say, oh, we're going up to the Squilchuck State Park. What I hear is we're going up to Mission Ridge. So the falls kind of seem like they're the big draw.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of, that they're the star of the show. But before we talk about that, what else is going on there? Like since I didn't leave the parking lot, I know I missed a lot, but what do people miss at your park that besides the falls, and which we will cover, what else is going on there that you think people need to check out?
Yeah. Well, maybe I can explain a little bit too about the draw too. Highway 2, it's the second busiest, probably route to Eastern Washington outside of Interstate 90. I don't know the official numbers, but
that's
leaving Seattle.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah. So you get that large population, Seattle, Bellevue side, weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Want to get outside. Let's go up towards the mountains. One of the first stops, we're here in Gold Bar. We're kind of on the periphery we're on the edge of, I don't want to say civilization here, but we're kind of the last of the population. But so it's easy to get to. We're open year round. So like further up the valley, there's trailheads that might not be accessible because of the snow, or you can get there, but half mile in, you're 2 feet, and most people don't want to do that.
Right.
So it's probably most people probably describe it as a moderate hike. So there's more difficult trails, but there's fewer easy. But so most people can do this hike. And the word gets out. Wallace Falls, you can see it. It's kind of a known thing. There's, go on the media, social media, you'll see pictures of the falls, makes the news for one thing or another. So it's an easy, popular draw. We're on the state park's license plate with Lake Wenatchee. And then, but the falls, like you mentioned, what else is there to see here? Most people are drawn to the waterfall viewpoint, especially Middle Falls. That's got the steepest drop. But the park is kind of Y-shaped, so the one leg of the hikes goes up to those waterfall viewpoints, but the other leg you can get up to the lake. So there's a 65-acre lake, Wallace Lake, and that's about 4 miles from the parking lot, so a little further out. And then there's Jay Lake. And then the last lake is Shaw Lake. There is no direct trail to Shaw Lake, so it's probably the least visited part of this park, but you can go alternative routes away from the park to get there. We don't get to Shaw Lake as much as probably want to, but at least a couple, 2, 3, 4 times a year, just making sure the route's clear.
Right.
For Jay Lake and Wallace Lake, we do have backcountry sites, and those are really popular, especially spring into summer. You can camp, $12 fee. There's some amenities there, like table, fire ring, nearby outhouse. So And then we're also surrounded by, there's a lot of Department of Natural Resources. I would say it's probably makes up 80% of our boundary. So sometimes there's active timber sales around the park, sometimes not, but you can recreate, you can hike, you can bike
Hmm.
into those areas. So yeah, there's kind of where we're at on the map of things. It's almost getting into a wilderness type feel. Like I can tell you, the Wallace River originates in the Wild Sky Wilderness. So
Okay.
yeah.
When you say, people from Seattle, Bellevue, Puget Sound, this is a place for them that's close. You said it's borderline on the wilderness. I was going to tease you and say any community that has a home development as recent as what's built out there is no longer the wilderness. That you are suburbia. If D.R. Horton is building homes there, they have done the math and they realize that people are living there and probably commuting to Bellevue. I mean, it really is probably true. Jokingly, what's the most popular car brand you see in the parking lot?
It's got to be Subaru.
Okay.
Yeah, but I see more and more the Teslas, electric vehicles. It's well within range of where people are coming in from. So
continuing with the car thing, have you seen something there that you went like for example, has there ever been a Rolls Royce parked in the, I mean, like is there been a vehicle there that you're like, what on earth is this doing in my parking lot?
Yeah, there's been a few very, I guess, European high-end type. I don't know, like it was Alfa Romero. Was that Italian?
Yeah, Alphas are Italian. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Maseratis. I've seen a few.
You see? Okay.
It reminds me of one time there was a vehicle had a cover on it. Like somebody, I guess they maybe didn't want to get tree sap,
Okay.
which they could have parked somewhere else, but they had their vehicle covered.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to do a Discover Pass enforcement with that. Like, what do I do? Like, do I lift up and see if he's got a pass on his windshield? Honestly, I just left that one alone. So I wouldn't, anyone listening, please don't cover your car to try to hide from getting a Discover Pass.
The Discover Pass is $45. A car covers 500. I mean, that's not a smart way of skipping $45 for an annual fee. Yeah. The thing is that when I drove out there, the speed tables out there, I don't think anybody's bringing like a Corvette out there, or if they are, they're driving very, very carefully over those speed tables that are on the road. All right. Yeah, I think the day that I was there, I think I noticed, my observation was I saw Subarus and Teslas. I mean, there was plenty of other cars there, but I noticed, multiple Teslas and multiple Subarus, which would be the two brands I would have answered had you asked me that question. You mentioned you have cabins. How many cabins does your park have?
There's 5 here, and they're short walking distance from the parking lot.
Okay.
So they're not up trail next to the waterfalls, but they're kind of tucked away. We get people that come here and don't even realize, and right next to the parking lot, short walk, are right there.
And how many people does the cabin sleep?
They'll sleep 5 persons.
Okay. And
there's
what features, like, describe the cabin to me.
Yeah. So for example, they all have the same amenities essentially. Cabins 3 and 5 have a back bedroom, so they have a little bit more room. So with that room, there's an additional counter, but it's a full size bed. It's a bunk bed, so full size on the bottom, twin bed on top. There's a futon that folds out for a full size bed. Table for chairs. There's wall heaters, plug-ins, a good size covered porch. So most people that come here We don't have refrigerators or microwaves. Some of our state parks might have a little more amenities, but
Mhm.
most people kind of cook outside, either on a gas grill or, we have a outside table firing barbecue brazier. So they're semi-private,
Mhm.
each one. There's no water, no toilets there for each cabin, but there is a centralized comfort station, restroom there, short walking distance for all the cabins, plus a couple of showers there as well. So,
All
uh,
right.
yeah, pretty basic, but
And
yeah.
do you have? Are there now? You mentioned that there's some unimproved camping spots up, but are there any other camping spots near the parking area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two walk-in tent sites, pretty basic, table firing, about the only amenities.
Okay.
And those are first come, first serve. So, we get folks that it's interesting that because of that, we've had like some July 4th weekends where they sit empty. But
Because I
most
just
people,
assumed somebody else went there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But so the big draw, we're mostly a day use park, but busy cabins. Think of this as also a good jump off point for, not just our park and trails, but all the other great hikes here up Highway 2,
Right.
Stevens Pass, especially ski season, will pick up a little bit. At 45 minutes up to Stevens Pass, or even, further, go Leavenworth, Lake Wenatchee area. Um,
Right.
so, yeah.
This is your personal preference. I'm telling you that whatever your answer is you are not acting as a representative of the state of Washington for the following question. When's the best season to go to Wallace Falls, the park?
Right now, I think October, November, fall time, fall colors. We do
Okay.
slow down. So, with the visitors, kids are back in school.
Right.
I think it's a great time. I see our older retired generation out here more frequently this time of year.
Okay.
A good time to travel. Temperatures are cooler. I will say that the falls might not be as spectacular, but if you come in like after a good rainstorm, I
Mm-hmm.
think it could be really roaring pretty good. So,
Okay. But
yeah, I just personally, yeah, that's
personally for
my
you,
favorite.
your fall. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, the other three seasons that you just disrespected by saying winter, spring, and summer, they all have their strengths too, though. And
Yes.
I would say spring would be, because the falls would probably be heavier flow, so the falls would be
Yeah.
pretty spectacular. What's a draw for winter time?
You know, there's always potential for the snow, although, we're only here at the trailhead 300 feet. So people think we're
Oh,
way up in the mountains. We're really not.
I
But
wow.
yeah, um, yeah. The higher ends of the park, like around Shaw Lake, is closer to 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
The viewpoints, like at Middle Falls, 1,100 feet.
Okay.
But wintertime, there's less people. So that's a draw. You read our reviews when one of the complaints is too many people. When you come during the weekday in the winter, there's a lot less people.
That same
Yeah,
person's probably writing a review saying there's not enough people. I'm just sorry. It's like there's no pleasing people.
yeah,
And that is, I mean, the system, I think the park system is a victim of its own popularity and its own success. I mean,
yeah,
but you can't. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's frustrating if you pull in and there's no parking spots. I mean, yes, any of us are frustrated selfishly that I went out there was no spots. I had to do
yeah.
something else. All right, but I don't know. Anyway, all right. So we got winter, you got spring and fall, summertime. Besides it just being nice, Western Washington summer, both days of it are beautiful. But what's going on in summer that like people might be overlooking? Anything?
Well, the summer is the busier time. Kids out of school, especially,
Yeah.
families want to get out, enjoy the nice weather. Um, it makes for a good hike. Our hours of operation are longest there,
Right.
June, July. Um, you can come off trail, and if you're feeling warm and need to, always people, hey, where's a good place to go swimming? And we have our Big Eddy river access point, and there gets a point in probably mid-July later on where it's a little safer to get in. You always got to be careful. Here we have the Skycomish River where Big Eddy is.
Mm-hmm.
Always be careful. Maybe that hopefully answers your
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
One thing I think, and it's easy to be an armchair quarterback and tell the team how to perform without having any responsibilities, right? I would like to see more of our parks open year round, because even though, especially if the Ranger, like you're present 12 months of the year, you're not closing the park up for winter and going somewhere else. You're there. Like, so
Yes.
quote unquote, you're being paid year round, whether there's one person in the park or 1,000 people in the park.
Correct. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice for some of the parks, not yours because you're open year round, but to be open year round? Yeah, I know that not many people might show up, but they might if they started to realize that this park was open year round. Maybe you don't have camping facilities. Maybe you have to winterize them and all of that. But I just think these are great resources that we all get to enjoy. Whether it's a August afternoon or a December evening, it's still being outdoors. It's still being in nature. It's still getting to experience some part of Washington State, wherever the park may be. Not yours. Yours is open year round. I get it. I do like the fact you close at dusk, because I think, I don't think you want people out on the trails at night.
No. Yeah. Safety concern for sure.
Well, let me address that. How do you walk me through shutting down the park in the evening hours? How do you because it closes at dusk, so I'll call that shutting it down. What do you do? I mean, if there's 3 cars left in the parking lot, what do you do?
Yeah. That's one thing we monitor, especially getting towards, we're coming up on the end of daylight savings or the beginning.
I think it's next week. So yeah, I mean, at the time we're recording this, it's coming soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So, something we have to pay attention to. It's something that we as rangers can cite people for being in the park after our official closing time.
Okay.
Most of the experience I've had here, you might get a few people that are kind of straggling in there. It might be 5, 10, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick conversation with them, and you can explain reasons A, B, C, D. Why we want folks out by that time. There is occasional time or especially my time here, where I've been called out because it was sunset, and it's usually at 7:30 at night. I'm at home with my family having dinner, and I get a call from SAR or dispatch, like, yeah, we got a hiker still up Wallace Lake, and can you help them out? And I'll always help out people.
Sure. Yeah.
As much as I'm available and possible. And I talk to people often. They just don't. Some people just aren't very good with the time and the time it takes to hike down 4 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have a quick conversation. Hey, maybe next time start earlier. Make sure you have your headlamps, in your backpack, part of your 10 essentials. Occasionally you get someone that does want to come in and start the hike at sunset, and you have to explain to them, hey, we don't want you out at this time for this reason. And it's also an operation. We have so many staff persons, and we're done. We did our day's work, and we don't have someone out late at night on the trails typically, unless for emergency. But
you're not a 24-hour 7-day-a-week service. I mean, we have to be okay. Well, you mentioned the 10 essentials, which leads me to this question, which is, in your experience, what should people bring that they is there something people should be bringing with them to your park that they don't bring?
You know, a lot of people are prepared and they have at least probably 5 of the 10 items, or some people might have 12 of the 10. They might have over prepared. But yeah, um, Washingtonians, we are always prepared, I think, mostly for the rain.
It's August, so I'm
You
still
know,
bringing a rain jacket. just cause.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. First aid kit's always good. You know, um, if it's not you that's getting hurt, maybe you come across another hiker potentially. I, you know, even a basic setup of first aid supplies, and always have enough water. We can't stress that enough. You know, especially the summertime. Hydrate, hydrate, and bring some snacks, salty snacks. I've had several people who've been dehydrated out on the trail, or I've seen some hikers almost, pale white, just uh, yeah.
I shouldn't. I'm kind of chuckling, and I shouldn't, because it's real. I mean, we have to be prepared. You've mentioned twice now the 10 essentials. Why don't you rattle through those 10? Because I'm curious what you think they are versus what I'm thinking.
What your listeners are probably saying, no, he forgot this one, or you should have this one. But you got a compass, map, first aid kit, extra food, water, snacks, probably extra clothing, flashlight or fire starter, matches, lighter. Most of us now carry cell phone, but beware, like this trail, there's areas where you might not get service. I wouldn't call a cell phone a 10 essential, but you got, a way to communicate if needed.
Right.
If I mentioned flashlight or headlamp, that's good. Some type of possibly emergency shelter, if you're hurt, or if not this trail, some other trail, you might get into a situation where you have to be out at night, and especially here in the mountains, the weather can change quickly. Some way to keep dry, stay warm. I'm probably missing a few in there,
okay, we have become, as a society, very dependent on our cell phones, and I am painting with a very large roller, not even a brush. I've got a big roller out, and we think our cell phones work everywhere, and they don't. If you're a city person, it works everywhere. But if you go out, like I know when I'm driving Highway 2 from Wallace Falls to Wenatchee, there's spots where I don't have cell coverage. Is there, and you mentioned is your park fairly covered though? I mean, and is there a carrier that you think has better coverage out there?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like my work cell, I have Verizon, and then my personal phone is T-Mobile.
Okay.
And even with both, there's areas where there's a few dead zones, and probably the geography of the landscape, just especially higher up. I don't know. I sometimes I think T-Mobile's a better coverage, and then other times I think Verizon has a better coverage. So I guess it depends on where you stand. But
well, if you believe the advertising, if you believe the advertising, T-Mobile's got a better network.
Yeah.
But I have Verizon. So anyway, I just think, I guess what I would like to, the message I would like to say here is to anyone listening to this: if you're not an experienced hiker, don't count on your cell phone as being your SOS signal necessarily, because you may look at your phone and go, I don't have any service.
Yeah, there's, if you're an avid hiker or becoming an avid hiker, there's other ways to communicate, right? I don't have those personally, but
but
satellite communication.
Well, and the new iPhones, Apple's got SOS mode now, where you can make a quick, emergency call, which would be good. And that's not just about your park; that's just in general. It's nice to have. I love talking about people. So in your years at the state park system, you got any, we'll change the names to protect the innocent type comment.
Yeah.
But do you have any, have there been any stories that you're like, I couldn't have made that up if I tried?
Oh, as far as like just individuals or incidents
Yeah,
or
both.
um,
Both.
yeah, um, yeah. There's 19 years, and you could probably ask any of us rangers. You know, expect the unexpected. As far as dealing with people or communications. I just a funny example. Years ago, working at Kama Beach, patrolling late at night, large group around a bonfire, someone's playing, on the guitar, and
Right.
it's 11 o'clock. Other people are going in, so it's quiet hour
Right.
contact. I stand next to the guy playing the guitar, and he doesn't hear me at first, and then he stops and asks me, "Do you have any requests?" And I go, "Yeah, Silent Night." So, uh, sometimes a joke like that can actually go over well. It's interesting. You have a contact. You can win or lose contacts with how you present yourself, your demeanor. Like to say I've won contacts by humor. Probably lost some communications and context. If you go in too hard, but yeah, there are lots of other stories. As a time working at Camano Island on the park, helping out a guy in his boat. He forgot to put the little plug in the back, and his engine died. And he was out in the water. But by the time I got down to the beach, his boat was there on the beach, rocking in the waves, full of water. Family got out, so they were okay. Um, but we're figuring out how do we get this beached boat to the dock. The guy, he's hypothermic, and so we go home, change your clothes, come back. I'm scooping out water in the back of the boat with the other ranger, and we're able to get a plug from our shop, and I had to time it just right to get the waves in this rocking boat. I get the plug in the right moment, and we're able to scoop the water out. The boat's able to lift off the rocky shore, and I'm in the water up to my waist with the tow rope. And I get to the dock and tie it up for the guy, and he comes back and he's like, "Oh, you saved my boat," and he basically throws me $100, and I tell him I cannot accept this, but the park can accept the donation. So um, anyway, that's just one story of many.
Oh,
People I've interacted lots of great volunteers. I haven't really touched on that.
mhm.
Volunteer groups, camp host. This have really helped out the parks, and that's one thing I can't stress enough is those folks too. There's lots of great volunteer groups that do a lot of good work. Lots of great individuals, camp hosts. The day-to-day communications with the park visitors, and I've really enjoyed working. It's probably one of my favorite things with this job is uh, working with those folks
All right.
in the groups.
What about wildlife? Any, like at Wallace Falls,
Yeah.
is there, I mean, what sort of a typical wildlife encounter, what might somebody see on one of the trails?
Yeah. Most of the time, we're not going to see why we're hoping for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the woody trail, the popular trail. Most of the wildlife are going to stay away from where people are at, but
Right.
um, you might see some deer. We have some black-tailed deer around. Occasionally, there's bear sightings. We at this park we'll get maybe half a dozen to a dozen times a year where someone reports seeing a black bear, and
Okay.
usually it's the same thing. The bear sees the person, runs the other way.
Okay.
Sometimes they might hang out a little bit. Um, I've seen this last week some bobcats. Um, I've never seen a mountain lion. I've seen tracks, but we've had visitors seen mountain lion. Um, at this park, I've seen beaver, I've seen owls, I've seen um, there's been eagles flying over. We have the Wallace River here. Um, Pileated woodpeckers. There's just they are there. The longer you're here, the more likely you're going to see something. So
okay. And we're gonna turn our attention to your partners in parks, other parks.
yeah,
Once again, Kevin is only going to be giving his opinion, not the opinion of the state of Washington.
yeah.
What's your 3 favorite state parks for you personally?
Yeah. This is a hard one, so I'm gonna exclude Wallace Falls.
Okay. Yes. I would prefer that. Yes. So.
Yeah. Um, I really, and I won't say these in any order, like 1, 2, or 3, but I really like Moran.
Okay.
There's just lots of trails. It's a beautiful park. Just that experience getting out to the island, and then you have to drive around Mount Constitution, the views. Just a large park. Steamboat Rock. I've never camped there, but I like the hikes. I like the hike up to the top of Steamboat Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people might not know there's a really great little trail just up the road there, Northrop Canyon.
Yes.
It's a beautiful little hike in, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, there's so many great parks to choose from. A third one. Wow. Let's just throw this out there. Up in Republic, Curlew Lake. I always something about the Republic area. Curlew Lake. I think it's a beautiful park there. It's kind of that. Not a lot of hiking trails or whatnot, but I just like the area. Just personally, I think it's, I like the Republic area. I know some people out there, some family, friends, and there were longtime rangers there that did a great job with that park too. So
they've got a new ranger. Is a new ranger there now, but Joe, I don't know. Do you know Joe, who's the new park ranger?
I may have talked to him in a training,
right.
likely.
He mentioned, and I can't quote because I published his episode and it's in the episode, and I apologize if I'm getting it wrong, but I want to say that park has had 4 park rangers since it was opened officially. Like, and he's the 5th. Like, they've all been long-term stewards of that area. So,
yeah,
interesting. So, I'm teasing you. Why no love for Lakewood? No, I'm kidding. This is an impossible question to ask because you could keep going.
Yeah.
For you, now you pick Curlew, you pick Steamboat, and you pick Moran, and I think the common thread. Well, no, I guess not. For you is to some when you go, and maybe you don't want to go to a state park because it's your day job. So maybe it's like going, oh, I can't. I guess if it were me, I'd be like going, well, how come that parking? They got better parking than I'd be just this, or they didn't do this the way I would. And so maybe you don't want to go to a park, but what do you like to do at parks? For you specifically when you're not? Let me rephrase. I'm going to stop. When you're not a park ranger, what do you like to do for recreation and entertainment?
Yeah. Just real quick, your last question. You asked me tomorrow, I might tell you 3 other parks.
No, that's fine. Completely, I'd expect you to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Rockport. Oh, I like Cape Disappointment. Riverside's got great views.
Your buddy over at park number, some other park goes, why did you say me? Come on. Oh yeah. But like, what do you do when you're not being a park ranger?
Yeah. I'm very, I think, outdoor oriented. I like the kayak, like to bike a little bit. The last 2 years, I've been getting into photography.
All right.
With the photography, there's a really great website, Northwest Waterfall Survey. So I'll go out and look for waterfalls.
Oh.
It's a great website. Whoever put that together, has Washington, Oregon, Idaho.
Okay.
Very
cool.
So,
all All right.
for those waterfall hunters.
Yes.
Yeah, check that out. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put a link in the show notes for that one. Okay.
Mhm.
What? All right. So we're gonna bring this one home. Now you're out. You said out near the wilderness, but even so, there's got to be a great place to get coffee around you.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go get coffee around your park?
You know, I typically just do my home brew, but I will say up there near Index off Highway 2, you can't miss it. Espresso Chalet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a cool little place to stop in. They have a huge, carved
Sasquatch, Bigfoot,
statue of, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Harry and the Hendersons. You can
Yeah.
get your little
I have driven by there. I've never stopped there for one reason or another. Normally it's because it's too crowded and I'm impatient. What's the coffee drink of choice? If you're going there, what are you ordering?
I'm pretty basic guy. I'll just get a basic coffee and 2 creamers.
Okay.
If I
Solid.
a little bit, maybe a latte with raspberry. But
okay. But you're more of a, and I am as well. I'm a I won't even use the creamers. I just want black coffee. All right.
Yeah.
What's good for lunch out in that area?
Here in Gold Bar, there's some good options. There really is. But I'll shout out for the Pie Dive Bar. They have this like a brisket, almost like a pot pie brisket. It's just really good. They have some home brews as well.
Okay.
But if you want a burger, can't miss with Zeke's. Or yeah.
So I've driven by Pie Dive. I've never stopped there. Should I stop? Oh, and you're saying a brisket pot pie, which you're talking my language here. But
yeah,
what else do they do? Breakfast by chance?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If you down the road, really good breakfast is the diner.
Okay.
The Mountain View Diner.
Okay.
In between, there's a Thai place as well.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's interesting. So I know in a conversation like this, I always feel like we overlook something. We can't cover every aspect of what you're doing and all that. But is there anything else that I should have asked you about the park that we didn't touch on?
I think we covered it well. I will say, those things that might drive people a little crazy with like the parking. We are working on that. We are aware of that. In fact, there is a capital money set aside for parking expansion.
Okay.
Here, hopefully, in the next few years, that will occur.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're never probably going to have enough parking as the demand and population grows.
Right.
But there's always lots of great options too. I always, as people are looking for places to hike and explore, you got popular place like here, up the roads, Lake Serene, but check out some other great hikes as well. They don't have to always be those epic hikes, although those are great, Alpine Lakes, etc. But Spada Lake, there's some DNR trails there up towards the east side, like Grider Lakes. They got PUD has some great hikes there. That's where I go. They're less than an hour drive from here.
I want to get away from work. All right.
Yeah.
I know one question I didn't ask you, and I don't know that you're going to know the answer, but I can ask. Approximately how many visitors does Wallace Falls receive a year?
Yeah, I've seen that number vary. Somewhere, I would say, between 200,000 to up to 230 to 40,000. We do keep track of our attendance. We have, it's a car counter, but that's also missing the people that are walking in, that park on the street and walk in. So sometimes it might be a little hard to get an exact number.
200,000 people.
Yeah.
That's staggering to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And, we also, like I mentioned, we have Mount Pilchuck,
Mm-hmm.
popular hike
Yep.
to the lookout. We have our Big Eddy Scenic River Access, very popular in the summer.
Yep.
And we have Forks of the Sky, the Climbers Wall. So you come here on a busy Saturday in July, you can see just add that all up for the staff here. And again, other state parks they're just as busy.
Oh yeah.
Forest
No.
Service Trail is just as busy. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
Wallace Falls, yeah, it's
that's wild though. That's and the thing is that it's good. I want
yeah.
we want people, at least I feel we want people going out. We want people getting away from, I mean, you and I are doing this remotely. We're in front of screens, but getting away from the screen, right? And getting
Yeah.
outside. All right. I warned you. I was going to grill you with one last question.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to assume you didn't cheat. So you agreed to play along. So here's the question. I'm going to remind you, you promised you'd answer. Cake or pie, and why?
Gosh, just cake. We'll just go with cake.
Okay, why?
And why? Just growing up as a kid, mom always made homemade cake,
Okay.
and I guess there's maybe a loyalty to cake. I never was a pie kid till later on. I was a very picky eater. That's a very hard question.
All right. Yeah.
But I'll go with a good old homemade cake.
You can elaborate a little bit more. You can pick the cake you want now. So what are you picking? What type of cake is it going to be?
Here's in high school I wrestled, right? So
Okay.
that whole trying to maintain your weight, especially my senior year, very, very hard. And there was times that I was, times when not eating a lot, and I would just be thinking about chocolate cake, just a basic chocolate cake with the chocolate icing, and so yeah. So those hikers coming off trail, you start thinking about food. It's funny conversations when you get towards the end of a day or a trail hike. You're talking about where to eat. Yeah, sorry about that noise with our local fire department pager.
Okay, that's it's good. I stole that question, and I can't remember where I stole it from. I wish I came up with it. Somebody asked it on a podcast, and I thought that's brilliant. Some people are like, "You're asking me to pick which child. I can't answer." Other people are like, "It's cake. Pie is wrong. How dare you mention the word pie?" I mean, it's so funny people's reaction to it. And I keep saying this, and this me on record yet again, that I need to tally cake and pie to see what the guests are. Unofficially, I think pie is in the lead, but I actually think camp cake is a little more passionate than pie. I think you're in camp cake and you're a little bit more, not you specifically, but the members of camp cake are like, yeah, it's cake. It's cake.
Mm-hmm.
It's cake. And then it's interesting asking the follow-up, which is what type of cake or pie and what people. I would say the number one answer is apple pie. I mean that's just I think the number one.
Yeah.
And cake, surprisingly, now see you added a great qualifier. You said homemade cake. But you know what people tend to pick? And no disrespect to any of my past guests that have answered this question. They go Costco sheet cake. And I'm just like, that's like saying my favorite hamburger is a quarter pounder with cheese. Like, yeah, it's serviceable, but there's so much better, isn't there? So anyway, you're a cake guy.
At family reunions and bigger get-togethers. Don't typically like for your birthday, maybe, but those are good too.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me. It sounds like the fire department might need your assistance, so I'm going to let you go.
It's in the area, so we pay attention when it's got or at 14503. That's when we know they're coming. But thankfully, just usually a few times a year, not too
often. Okay.
But so we're all good right now.
All right. Well, again, thanks for being willing to chat with me in the parking lot to start this process, and then sitting down today and recording.
Yeah,
and
nice to meet you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I will let you get on with your day of being a park ranger.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see what's coming up.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. Glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.